So it's a little crazy to think that Kipo in the Age of Wonderbeasts has really only been with us for about a year, even less than. So as crazy as 2020 has been, what's this year kind of been like for the both of you bringing Kipo to fans around the world?
Oh man, it's a weird mix of excitement to have Kipo come out mixed with the horror of life.
Yeah, I mean, what a whirlwind. I mean, I guess we predicted the end of civilization would happen
right.
on October 23rd. And sorry about that, because it feels like that's been happening. And maybe now with Kipo, we'll be ready to handle it.
Was this year kind of like, was it like a roller coaster for you guys, or how would you kind of describe launching this thing? We've got all the episodes out now, and then you kind of have to, as far as we know, you kind of have to say goodbye to it at the end of the year here.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because when we sat down to make it, Bill, can you remember, like, how long ago was it? But we kind of made them all in a row. So we just sat down and made all 30, like, at once. So, like, we actually didn't know, once we sent them off to Netflix, like, how they'd release it or, you know,
right,
or when. For all we knew, they could have done one a year. Or I kind of liked that they did all in 1 year. I thought it was kind of fun to do the 3 drops in 1 year.
I guess that kind of leads into my next question there. So, unfortunately, like, as good as season 3 is, and as good as the whole series was so far, it is also the end of the show. So I'm obviously, as a fan, a little bummed about that. So can you maybe talk about the plan? You guys said that you produced all 30 episodes, but you didn't know what the release format was going to be. But did you always plan to have this kind of like concise, contained story? Or were there opportunities to maybe explore a little further?
We knew early on that we were going to be doing just 30 episodes. But we also, with that in mind, wanted the edges to bleed beyond, feel like the edges of this world go beyond what we see. So there's absolutely potential for more stories, which we both of us have talked about. And if we could find the right place for it, I mean, I think both of us would be more than thrilled to keep telling the stories. But as for the story that we followed in 2020, we did want it to have a very satisfying ending, so people could walk away feeling like they had really completed a journey. And that just, you know, like any book that has a great journey, you know, there's always a new book in that same universe that could open up new avenues. And I think there's plenty of avenues where we can tell stories.
I mean, Netflix was always very clear with us. They were like, when you get to 30, it's like a miniseries is done, you know. It's not like if it does really well, we're going to order more. Just think of it like a movie or something. So it wasn't like, oh, maybe it'll keep going, you know.
So I'm sure in your minds, and Bill, I think you already kind of alluded to it, you obviously are coming up with more things you'd like to explore, more creative ideas. So can you maybe tease some of those things? What are some maybe parts of the story you'd like to expand or explore or dig into a little bit more?
I mean, I've talked about this before, but I think it'd be cool to do like a wolf movie picking up when she's older, like 15.
Yeah, and set in that same kind of world, just now that we know kind of how this conflict ended, maybe, you know, she finds herself in a different conflict.
Mm-hmm. One chapter within the world that we told the story that I feel has big potential is Jamak. Before he met Kipo and Wolf, he knew Wolf vaguely before he had met Kipo, and I think there's a whole story arc that needs to be told inside his office building that has a waterfall going through it. Where was Jamak in his heyday with the mod frogs before he got drummed out? I'm very interested in that prequel story.
I gotta say, even the scene where we were going back with Dave, learning that there are a ton of Daves previously. You know, he's the last, but there were a ton of Daves. We also got to see kind of the outfitting of the mod frogs, which I thought was a nice kind of just little aside. That just, you know, these mutant frogs walking around, they're like, that's a nice suit. I'm just going to put that on. So little touches like that I really loved. Spending time with the EDM bees, getting to meet the queen, all that kind of fun stuff. It just feels like I don't know. It feels like you said the first book in could be a very long series of books. So I would love to see more stories, personally.
Yeah. You know what'd be fun, too, would be to do just a Kipo feature.
Absolutely.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I mean, Tales of Arcadia.
Yes to that.
Yeah. Yes to that. Have you guys talked about any potential ideas of what you would build that around?
We've batted around a lot of ideas.
The Great Mutant Outbreak is happening all around the world. There's a lot more than just Las Vistas. And that opens up also the chance for some really big feature-level storytelling.
That's a really good tease, because you guys would get to go outside of Las Vistas and get to explore some other, notable cities around the world in your signature post-apocalyptic Technicolor style, which would be really fun to see too.
Yeah.
Since we're talking spoilers a little bit, Dr. Emilia, I wasn't 100% sure how you guys were going to wrap up your Dr. Emilia villain. I really like the way that character kind of ended up. What do you think? What do you think the day-to-day life is like for Dr. Emilia now that her ultimate fate's kind of been decided?
It's funny. We even at one point there was a scene where she was back in her old room where she grew up with it, and there's like photos of her brother on the wall, and she sees what she thinks is her brother coming towards her, and it's Fungus. And in my mind, that happened, and she's just being tortured by the memories of her brother for all of eternity.
Do you think for that character, in some way or some future, there's any kind of redemptive arc for her? Because you kind of introduced maybe the possibility, but every time Kipo gave her a chance to come back to the right side, she just kind of turned against it again. Do you think there's any potential out there for her to be redeemed?
What do you think, Bill?
I'm taking a long, hard look at the world that we live in right now, and hoping that there is redemption for intolerance and fear, but I don't see it yet. Yeah. So I feel like we need to see how how that can happen in the world at large, and then maybe take another look at Emilia. Anything's possible, but she does represent those big forces, and I hate to be cynical about it. It's not a very positive show, but she is not a forward-thinking voice.
Yeah, I think if she were going to be redeemed, being forced to face her past and really reflect would be the way to do it. So, yeah, I could see a possibility of it.
So you're saying in the real world, if we just take some folks who need to be maybe rehabilitated and just kind of lock them up with a sentient fungus for a while, we'll be okay.
That's a good idea. That's our prescription for the world.
Yeah, that's the takeaway.
Save the world.
Exactly. On the positive side of everything in this show, Karen Fukuhara throughout the entire series was an absolute joy, and the entirety of your cast is fantastic. So looking back, did you guys have any favorite kind of memories that you spent with this cast over the course of making the show? And do you have any thoughts on kind of, do you want to highlight anybody as far as who you think's gonna make it big in the future, or where you think we might see them next?
You'll notice during the flashback, there's of Benson and Dave. There's a song playing from our actor Coy, and he's in a band called Group Therapy.
Yeah.
But he was supposed to go on this giant tour with his band right when this whole thing hit, and I was 100% sure. I was like, oh man, this dude's gonna blow up. This is gonna be crazy. I still think that'll happen at some point.
But it's so hard to. I would say this about all of our cast. So we were lucky that we had a world-class cast rounding out our main characters, with Sterling K. Brown and Dan Stevens. But then we had, Karen and Coy and Sydney, and they're all such incredible performers who are really hitting their strides now. Karen is, she's on The Boys, doing Glimmer and our show. And when we saw Karen and Sydney doing episode 7, the Mulholland episode, where the depth of their emotion came out in a way that that felt so real, but was also true to the comedic approaches that they had both taken. Like both of us, I mean, we knew then that we were looking at huge future stars, and Brad's already talked about Coy. I mean, I can't speak any more highly of Coy. I feel like we got so lucky. Like we got these huge stars at the right time, and hopefully, once they blow up, they'll still want to work with us.
Exactly. Yeah, it feels like just like a perfect cast that you guys assembled, and I would just love to see, another 30, 60, 90 episodes with them all together, but who knows, maybe in the future. Before I run out of time with the both of you, so at the end of season 3, which is also the end of the series, there's a very fun, positive, uplifting kind of epilogue with a bit of a time jump to tie everything off. So what message did you want to get out to the fans out there with this kind of final sequence to say goodbye to Kipo and company?
Oh man, for me, it was just like that wish fulfillment thing. Like it just seemed so cool when it came up to cut and see them in the future. That was kind of like why I liked the idea. But Bill, did you have some deeper meaning or thinking?
I mean, I would only add to what you just said, and it's wish fulfillment, but it's earned wish fulfillment. They worked so hard to achieve the world that they get to enjoy in that epilogue. And we wanted the audience to be able to enjoy it with them for a little bit. And it wouldn't feel right if they didn't earn it, if they didn't go, to the depths and back to get that world. And then jumping forward 5 years, let it really progress, and we get to see, this is what Kipo was working towards, and this is what Benson and Wolf saw in her and why they stuck with her on the surface. And we get to live with them for just a few minutes to an amazing Vanessa Michaels song played out a lot longer. I mean, that's what I would say about it. It was earned wish fulfillment.
No, it's fantastic. It was a great resolution, and I'm glad that was included, and you guys didn't kind of leave us hanging. It was a very nice moment, final moment to spend with Kipo. Speaking about final moments, my final question for you both today, unfortunately, what's up next for the both of you now that Kipo is kind of coming to a close? I'm
currently producing a movie and have a few things in development, so hopefully you'll see some more stuff.
I still have a big, very large foot in the world of animation, and I'm cooking things up. I'm also, I do work on I go back and forth between live action and animation, and I'm very fortunate to be working on Star Trek Strange New Worlds right now with a group of unbelievable, incredible writers, which, I would say I'm still in animation too. I'm not leaving animation behind.
Well, that's fantastic. I want to thank you both so much again for Kipo, for narwhals who sing like angels and have abs, because that's a thing I've never seen in a cartoon before, so I appreciate that. And just thank you so much for your time. Best of luck with the rollout, and best of luck with whatever comes next.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being such a supporter of the show, Dave.
Oh, absolutely. You make it very easy.